So why don't we just kick things off and talk about why you're changing things
I
up?
skipped
for
the
ranked map
intro,
rotation?
guys. Sorry.
Yeah, sure. So we had 16 maps for a long time, and we wanted to try a new approach. We were, swapping out the maps. We were thinking at the beginning of the season and the mid-season as well, but it was our first time doing this, so we've actually learned a lot. We had announced all the maps for the full season at the beginning, purposely because we were kind of testing the waters a little bit, and we certainly heard from our community loud and clear that some of those maps were not necessarily the competitive level that they were looking for. So basically, we've heard a couple things that are core to players. One are those new modernized maps that we brought, like Oregon, Villa. I've gone through a modernization, all the destructible ingredients getting added, for example. Swapping those out with less competitive maps was not really matching expectations for players,
Yeah,
which is
but like,
great
why?
to know, right? We wanted to
But
test the
like,
flexibility.
why
of those,
do it
maybe
though?
more casual maps in the ranked for a temporary to see how that would work, and that's not necessarily something players want to see. Additionally, we have all 9 pro maps in the ranked pool, and that's really important for players, is having those like competitive maps. Those are the most competitive maps in our current scene.
Yes.
They get maintained within the ranked rotation.
So you talked about all this feedback you received and all of that. So we've got a new approach coming. Not only, well, let's talk about season 1 first, right? What's happening for season 1 right now, or in a few days?
Yeah. So actually, it'll be coming next week. I think it'll be shortly after our .2 mid-season patch. So what's going to end up happening is that we're going to be adding 4 maps to the pool. So that'll be Canal, Theme Park, Outback, and Skyscraper are going to be added to the pool. So for this one time, we're going to boost the total size up to 17 from 13.
Okay, and actually we have it on your screen as well, folks, to give you an idea visually of what's going to be happening here. So we talked about the 4 maps being added, and then in Season 2 with Rank 3.0, it's going to change even further, right?
Yeah, so we have...
Oh, why is the quality on this video so bad? Oh, that's kind of cool. So basically, you get one map, which is Calypso Casino, which that map you cannot ban, and then you get a poll of a Pro League map. So Bank, Skyscraper, Consulate, Clubhouse, or Chalet, Borders, Cafe, Lair, Nighthaven, and then you get a like seasonal map rotation one, which is like Oregon, Villa, whatever, basically. I mean, very descriptive.
For Rank 3.0. So we really looked at, well, I would say we've learned a lot from this first attempt in Season 1. And so we changed basically the back end of how we're going to be able to rotate maps. So now if you picture the map ban phase, you have 5 maps that appear.
Right.
We're now going to be able to control those maps individually through different pools. So one of those is going to be the showcased pool. So the showcase pool we'll use primarily for new maps. So Calypso Casino is coming in Season 2. Now with this new showcase option, you'll actually be able to have Calypso Casino in every single map ban phase in the beginning of the season. That won't stay for the full season, but for the beginning of the season it'll be the case. And then we're going to be pulling the rest of the maps through 2 different pools. One will be the Pro Pool, and one will be the Seasonal Pool. That means we don't have to kind of counterbalance the number of seasonal maps that we have in order to, rotate against the 9 maps that we have on Pro. So for every ban phase, you'll have 2 Pro maps, Calypso Casino, and 2 seasonal maps.
Okay, and we talked about the seasonal maps a little bit. Obviously, we're not going to be pulling from the full 8, right? Is that correct? It's just going to be 4 maps that
It'll be 4, and then after that, we're going to do when we do a rotation, how that's going to work is that we're actually going to be listening to the community through the ban phases. So if there's a map that's not banned very often, so Oregon is a good example, right? It's a map that doesn't get banned that often, but it's a seasonal map. It's not currently in our Pro League. That map might survive a rotation. So that we don't have to necessarily do 4 and 4 and just kind of rotate back and forth. But as we kind of grow our seasonal pool, such as new maps like Casino, we're going to be actually listening to the community, maybe keeping some of the ones that are least banned, and the ones that are most banned will be the ones that get rotated out.
Okay, and is there a minimum amount of maps you want to rotate out, or I mean, obviously there's going to be some rotated out. I guess 1 would be the minimum, or is there something else?
Yeah, we still want there to be a seasonal flavor with those
exactly.
Updates.
Yeah, if it's only 1, it doesn't really invoke much change, and we want to be able to do that, like switch things up and kind of challenge it a little bit. I think there's a couple other things to note, like we mentioned the showcase pool. Right now it's going to be Calypso in Season 2, but later in the year we're going to have targeted map updates. There's a chance that we can actually place those maps in that slot. That's something we want to ask the community about, see what they think about that idea. So when the Villa update comes, maybe that becomes part of the showcase pool. And just to back up on another thing that I think is really important that Chris mentioned is normally the map rotation, the rank map rotation, will be at the 0.2 update. That is the cadence that we're looking for. Because of the adjustments we're doing and because of lots of different reasons, the seasonal surveys that we got this information from, which I think we'll dive into.
Yeah.
But beyond that, also the fact that whenever we do submissions in order to release content updates, there's a bit of a delay. There's a bit of a kind of a run up to that. There's certification and things. And because of that, we'll actually be delaying that rotation just a little bit in this season. But in the future, 0.2, our rotations will hit, and it'll be awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, and I mean, we're talking about the feedback surveys. Let's actually jump into that, right? And you've already gone through them, correct? There's been a feedback cycle that's taken place?
Yeah, so we launched our Season 1 seasonal survey, and we've now gotten the feedback. We actually put a number of questions in that seasonal survey about ranked map rotations.
Okay.
I was personally surprised how much Favela was hated. I knew it was not a top map. I didn't expect the amount of hate that it got.
No,
and one thing we don't want is really impact overall players' enjoyment in the ranked pool.
Right.
So basically, what it did highlight for us is that that's a map that we wanted to be in more of a a competitive place.
Right.
So maybe it needs some reworks. Maybe we need to do a little bit of work on that map.
Rework.
That's the key
from
aspect
Villa?
of why that's not
When
showing
Villa
up
already got
in
a
the
rework
rotation that we're doing in
before?
season 1. So we were just listening to the community. We don't want that experience. It's okay. We're not going to do that. But we're going a little fun by adding more maps.
See, chat.
And in terms of
They are
receiving
listening.
feedback from everyone out there,
They are
what is
listening.
the best way for them to get their voice heard?
The seasonal survey is the best. Like if we had to,
See? You gotta answer the
prioritize
surveys.
it, the seasonal survey is a
That's
great
how you let your
structured
voices
way for us
heard.
to get feedback. We do also watch a lot of content creator content. We're on socials. For sure, we do workshops with our community and our pros. But at the same time, the seasonal survey is the #1 way to let players' voice be heard.
Yeah, so guys, keep talking on social media, keep making your posts on Reddit, all that stuff. But also, if you really want your voice to be heard, make sure you check out those seasonal surveys. Usually when we have one, or actually always when we have one, bottom right-hand corner of your screen once you launch the game, you'll see that it's coming up, or you'll see that there's an announcement for it. Click on it, send your feedback, and that is the best way to be heard on any subject that we're going to be targeting. So, all that being said, why don't we jump into check out what's happening in the STL match. I believe it's already started here. Yeah, we got
STL
Defenders
match.
winning round #1. People might not know what STL
Bro, they
is,
always
so maybe
cut
we should
to
give
it,
some
and the
context
game's
here,
always
Josh,
like
right?
over.
Yeah, so as you mentioned, it's the Siege Team League.
Yeah.
So basically, internally, we run a tournament
Yes.
with all the developers on Siege. There are there's 2 different brackets. There's recreational for maybe you just joined the team, maybe you've never played Siege before. We can get you in the recreational league, and then there's the advanced league. That's where our champion players are sitting and stuff like this. And if you have a lot of playtime, that's usually where you end up, which means
Right.
I get stomped by champion players, which is great. So, but it's a fantastic way for us to play the game together, get super excited, and kind of hold this like internal tournament. There's a trophy. We have our own trophy. People's names go on it and stuff like this. And we do a live stage kind of finale and stuff. It's
a big celebration. Yeah, we all have drinks and stuff
It's
together.
pretty cool.
Honestly,
pretty
you mentioned
cool.
it's a great way to learn Siege. Like,
Hey,
we do have
what's good,
new people
Coda?
coming onto the Siege team all the time, jumping into the SDL.
Coda, I'm
you have
reacting to
coaches,
the,
you have
the community
floor
checkpoint.
plans and blueprints of the maps. You know who's playing which operator.
And yes, it will be
there's
turned
a
into a
whole
YouTube
lot of
video.
strat
It will be turned into
It
a
really
YouTube
depends
video.
on who the coach
Okay.
is, because like some of the coaches are crazy. And when I say this, like most of the coaches are actually like our champ level are very advanced players, and they'll be a coach for the rec league as well, but also the advanced league. And some of them are super hardcore, where you'll show up and you'll get a folder with homework and like dossiers on all our opponents. Like the fact that I can't see people's names right now is a little frustrating, because I could use this
Oh, I
to like
fixed
pull
the
stats off of what they're
stream
doing
quality
and then
now.
use it against them. But
Now
I
it's
know my team's
fixed.
already watching
Now
this.
it's at
so we'll be all right.
1080p.
You've got
what it's
people
supposed to
we
be.
take it seriously, folks. It's not a joke here, STL.
Finally.
But yeah, let's jump back into our discussion here on mid-season balancing now. We want to talk about this, and we're going to make an announcement for you guys for the first time, telling you what's changing here in
Bro, the
1.2
STL match is
balancing
like,
patch. And I guess for the first topic here, Josh,
the
how many
train game on the
operators are being
side
targeted?
where people
Well,
are
yeah,
not getting
so
bored.
I mean, this is the mid-season patch, so this is a major balancing update. We have 2 of these per season, one at the season launch, and then one mid-season, which is happening very soon. So you can expect bigger changes here, stuff that has more impact, kind of changes an operator's position within their overall impact of the game as well. So we are actually bringing 8 operators are being modified.
8.
Okay, and what's the most important factor
Eight?
when you're selecting the operators to modify?
Well, I kind of mentioned it right there with about
That's
impact.
a lot of
so
ops,
all our
bro.
operators should have impact.
That's
and they
better
should have
than
it
most
in
every
specific
balancing
scenarios. We
scene
don't want one
update
operator
ever,
just being
like
the
in
one
history.
size fits all and be able to do everything. But we want every operator to have their moment to shine, their scenario to shine, so that when you're getting the good intel, you're getting the
that's
read
a
on
lot.
the team,
That's a
maybe
lot.
you're deep into the back and forth of a ranked match, and you've kind of got the essence of what this team's doing, so you can start pulling out the strats that are going to make a difference to close out the match for you. This is the stuff that matters, is like when you play those cards, when you bring out those ops. So ultimately, it's making sure each one of our operators can take space within the game and very specifically own that space as well.
Okay, and we have a lot of operators, 8 total, that are being targeted here. Why don't you give
Bro,
me
8
a top
ops are
3 of
insane
the ones you feel
amount.
have the most significant changes, starting with number 3, let's say.
Number 3. Okay, all right.
Or maybe number 1, actually.
Well, I mean, it'll differ between people, obviously.
so,
Like, I
right?
know which one's mine, so I'll say which one's mine when we get to it. But we'll start off with a big one because there's multiple changes happening to this operator, which is Rorora.
Yes.
So for those who don't know, she has this DOM panel launcher. It's a device that allows her to close down doorways and take a lot of control as an attacker,
Narrow
which is
range.
fantastic. Some of the big
Current.
adjustments here, and when you
New
look
launch-
at the device,
Bro, what?
it's been very.
Bro, you shoot
kinda
that so
shared
far
between attackers and
away.
defenders.
Right.
What I mean by
What?
that is, like, a defender can utilize it against
That
their
range
attackers
is
if they're clever
insane.
and kind of play around it. But what we're doing here is really trying to center it back to being an attacker-sided gadget, so it's more responsive to our attackers.
No,
and
it's
more
just-
reliable for the attacking
That's
side of the fight.
insane. That's really insane.
On top of that, just comfort stuff going into it and allowing her to take that ground
Closing
faster.
3 seconds.
One big thing is the range is being increased pretty dramatically from 15 meters up to 25.
Door closing
And
for
the biggest
a
factor here
second.
is instead of having one
That's
panel to start,
quick.
she's actually getting
That's
all 4
actually
right off the
kind of
bat.
quick.
That's
Oh
Yeah,
my.
so she can move very quickly, deploy these very, very fast.
Wow.
And just a pro tip for anyone using her, it's a real projectile, the actual DOM panel. So if you don't hold your line of sight well enough or hold the angle kind of weird, you're actually going to hit the surface. So make sure you've got your line
Door opening door opening and closing for enemies to 6 seconds from 3.
of sight to the essentially the doorway you're locking
Okay.
onto, and then take that space.
Okay, we have our number 1 then in Aurora, and you guys can see on your screen some of these changes we just discussed.
Aurora's
right,
going
in
to be
terms of
literally
it's
the
significant,
highest
right,
pick.
in terms of
I'm
how
not
quickly
even
the door's
lying. It's
gonna
going to be a
close
really big
for
pick right
attackers.
Well,
after this.
Yeah, like what's on the screen right now, we're saying opening and closing for up to 6 seconds from 3.
25
in
meters is
video games, 1 second is a
insane, man.
lifetime.
Yes,
and we just
yeah.
tripled that. So 6 seconds is massive, and it can really stop you from getting caught off guard. Also,
Bro, that's
also do your
insane.
timing better for when you put these panels up, thinking in your head, okay, it'll be this amount of time before something kind of can come through. So yeah, it's a pretty big shift on it, and I'm looking forward to seeing folks kind of jump into like
their head.
using her.
Wait, there's
Yeah.
going to be
Cool.
there's
What about
going
number
to
2?
be a
Number
new
2.
rank.
Okay, so again,
yeah.
no particular order
I know,
on
we're
these,
just
but
saying.
this is the one I think is the big impact one, right? Ultimately,
It's like a
the
rank
fact that we're bringing
poll, I think.
an
is
update
what
to
they
Smoke,
said.
Yes.
and we are reissuing his deployable shield.
It's like,
Yeah, so
Back.
are you talking
it's
about the
back.
rank
It's
maps or are
a
you talking
pretty
about the
big
brand
deal.
new rank?
Smoke has had this in the past. It makes him a really
Oh
strong
wow,
anchor.
adding the
allows
deployable
him to
shield
do
back
a
on the
lot
smoke. Oh
of-
yeah, Pro
carry
League.
a lot of weight
Oh,
for the team.
Pro League
And
is
also
going to
allows you
be
to change your
on
lineup, so you
that.
don't have to bring that extra operator that's bringing the shield. So really excited to have this come back.
Pro League is going to be
And
all
what
over
about
this,
the
bro.
3rd operator then.
And probably
The
high
third,
rank
this
elos
was fun
too.
and
Low
Jackal.
rank elos, nah,
We're
not
actually
much.
diving into Jackal here and
Footprint
updating on
scans
how he
through
can essentially
ceilings.
get the scans to work, and it's playing with verticality.
Oh.
Verticality is a huge thing in Siege. It's something we want to embrace more, and it's also an advanced skill in Siege.
I
and
mean,
most FPSs
for the
in general because
Jackal,
of
for the
disruptability
Jackal
of the
thing to
environment.
scan people
In
through
this
the
case, Jackal can use that
ceilings,
shotgun,
honestly,
open
it's
up
like
the floor,
a
and then start scanning
dodge,
footprints
it's
from
of the
underneath,
nerf
which allows
that
him to have
happened.
advantage to give that intel
I
to
still
his
need the
teammates who may be
1v1,
on rappels on
2v2,
windows or holding
and the
actual
3v3.
floor above.
Yeah, I mean,
But also he's getting a set of
they
frag
want people to
grenades.
play that game
So
mode
he
that is
becomes
coming out.
a bit
I
of a
don't know
menace
when,
from down below.
but they
now.
want people to
All right,
play
I
that
love
and
playing
get their
Jackal, so I'm
thoughts on
excited
it.
about that change for
Oh, yeah.
sure.
The C70 is amazing. I love that gun.
I'm looking
That
forward to
secondary
it.
shotgun is going to come
yeah.
clutch now.
All right.
And I mean, the
we've got
Jackal,
those
and
three
that's
operators
really it
covered.
for
However,
Jackal,
we do have
though.
other changes coming. You already talked about 5
Oh,
other
Jackal has
operators, and I
nades.
think they're not as significant,
They
but
brought
still
back Jackal
interesting in their own
nades?
right?
Yeah, so these changes are definitely focused on quality
Okay,
of life.
that will
and
make
kind
it a
of,
little bit
more
better.
refined. Like they're
Yeah.
smaller
The
changes
smoke
to
one's
give you
kinda
that extra little bit of comfort that you kind of look
depressing
for.
a
And you
bit
can feel that resistance
because
sometimes when
it's
you're
only
playing
a
the game.
shield. I thought he was gonna
And
get like
right
a
off the
whole
bat, we're looking at
workaround.
glass. When you scope in with his scope, there's when you're moving, it'll get fuzzy. everyone kind of has experienced this. It normally takes about 12 seconds to fully lose its image. We've bumped that up to 15, so you have a little bit more time to keep that movement going and be able to kind of move
I
a
know
bit,
what he's talking
stop, get that control, reset it, move a bit, stop, get that control, reset it.
Because if you keep
So
moving,
again,
you
quality
lose
of life,
your,
just giving you a little bit more functionality. And 12 to 15, again, 1 second's a lifetime. It
you
can make a
lose
big
your
difference.
thermal. If you start
Outside
moving
that,
around
we
too
have an update
much.
for Clash. The taser will be actually increased by 5 seconds, so it'll last a little bit longer.
Okay, so make her more broken.
Just to give her that
Alright.
extra little bit of flexibility there.
So we're basically making
Grim-
Clash more
Grim,
broken.
okay, we got to talk about
Needs
Grim.
a buff.
Yeah, more buffs. No. Okay, so here's the thing. Nerfs are not gone. And that's the thing that we have to kind of address and look at. But the one thing is the day of doing multiple nerfs that are really heavy-handed, that is gone.
Okay.
Unless there's an emergency. And I want to be very clear about that. Because our whole mantra going into balancing is we want to embrace the fun. We want to have an enjoyable experience for everyone. But we want to be competitive. This is Siege, and we take the game serious. We want to be kind of locked in. So occasionally we are going to have to nerf stuff down, bring things in a line a little bit.
I mean, we'll suspect
doing
some
that with
nerfs,
Grim.
chat.
This is for more
I
high-level
mean,
play as
we
well.
had a lot
So
of
basically, when
buffs.
you shoot the canister, there's 2 stages to it. It shoot it out, and then it deploys the actual payload that has the bees in it. During that deployment, that payload is vulnerable. You can shoot it. We're increasing the window in which you're going to be able to take it down. So again, if he's using the bailiff, opens up while on site, and lobs one of these
Okay.
into the site,
So basically, what Grim is for his nerf is that whenever you shoot his canister, and if it bounces off of stuff, it takes a second, probably more seconds longer until it actually activates. But I think people have enough time to able to shoot it in time before it activates fully. Because right now, I think if you activate Grim's thing and you shoot it, it's like instantly. I think they let it, I think they're letting more players have more time to react to that and shoot it quickly as they can before that couple seconds happens whenever they're talking about. But honestly, he needs a nerf anyways. He's like pretty much the best operator in the game at this point. But like, I see what he's kind of saying. A lot of people are like, don't even know what they're talking about that. But I think that's what it means. I'm pretty sure. So, we'll see once that comes out. But I'll keep continuing.
going to have the chance to be able to deal with it, at least a bigger window to deal with.
That audio cue as well for that when that
Yeah.
canister, yeah.
Like the click, click, and then the boom. Or, well, depending if it's a bank shot or if it's a sticky, yeah, it can change. Next, we have Frost.
Yes.
So Frost, obviously, if you land into one of these traps, you're not having a good day. But like, if you pull yourself out of the trap, you get a 60-second debuff, which makes you limp, makes you leap.
Before he continues, please say, "Oh, we resorted it back," where Frost Traps instantly kills you again. Please, please.
The trail, it makes you make a lot of noise. You're kind of dead to rights at this point,
Yeah.
usually. But yeah, we're just gonna twist the knife more. We're adding 10 seconds to that debuff, so it's
Bro.
70 seconds.
Ubisoft. So, right, we totally ignore the questions that everyone says that why are we making Frost more a pain in the, you know what I mean? But like, yeah, like why are we making Frost more pain now? Like, what are we doing, Ubisoft? Like, what? Let's go back in the days where it was a 1 kill, please.
If you get caught in one of these traps and self-revive. It's, again, to encourage folks to, A, help each other. Yes, if your teammate's in the trap, pick them up. They don't get the debuff, if that's the case. Or B, just don't, drone. Don't go in the trap in the first place.
Right.
So that's kind of the aspect there. And then last we have Thunderbird. Thunderbird, while healing in
Thunderbird.
Siege is always an interesting one, and one of the key things is rate of
Bring back Nitroso.
healing. This is something we've been looking into a bunch. So we're adjusting the rate of healing of our Kona stations from
Bruh.
2 HP a second to 3. So you'll actually get the full health a lot faster,
But
and
why-
you will get the full health as long as
It's
you don't
just
take more
T-Bird's
damage.
not
That's the
gonna be
feature that's
used
already been there.
anyways.
And I think also this is I guess
She's like the last
representative of a
pick
shift in our
operator
mentality in
anyways.
terms of balancing. This is not going to be the last time we do mid-season balancing. This is now a permanent thing that we're going to be looking at every season, correct?
Yeah, we're going to be doing the mid-season balancing as well as when we launch. Also, we have 2 refines per season, so we've been doing a lot of buffs and we've been doing a lot of updates,
Yeah.
and it's going to keep going. So it's even we're doing a big mid-season now. 3 weeks later, we're going to be doing a refine balancing, and then after that, S2 comes. Another big major balancing is going to hit with that season as well. So there's a lot coming, and the game is
There's
changing
a lot of things
often.
that they do need to fix.
And I think
like,
that's
come on.
exciting, personally.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a big thing for us to be able to deploy updates every 3 weeks, because that's ultimately what we're doing, and have access to that from like a live service approach is incredible. It allows us to be more reactive if a situation arises, but also allows us to plan stuff like kind of further out, make touch points with our community through those surveys, or even seeing them in person at different events, and be able to bring that feedback in faster because we actually have access to it. We're able to do that. I think one thing to note though is that even though I won't leak all the changes we have coming because there's so much stuff coming, but the reality is, if we do massive drops of like 50 changes or something like that, we lose track of how we can actually track the game and understand what's impacting what.
True.
So it's important that we are staging that stuff in order to react to the impact that this has. As everyone who like really is in deep into Siege, one factor can have a cascading effect across multiple operators and just multiple sites and kind of do this thing. So we need that data to kind of solidify as it moves forward too.
And speaking of data, we do have testing grounds that you've used in the past, right? For other types of changes. Is this something you would consider for these balancing elements, or is it just more of the live approach and taking this like slower approach to it, right?
Yeah, I think with testing ground, well, when we talk about our balancing and everything like this, one of the big thing is like we've had the opportunity of doing workshops with players at say the Major and the SI and stuff like this. Getting stuff in players' hands early, getting the feedback, that's one way we can do that, especially with balancing. When it comes to testing grounds, this is more systemic level changes. Speed and armor was the one that we had tested first, and then, I mean, we have half reinforcements coming later this year. These are systemic
half
things.
Reinforcements are
and
kind of
even
cool.
with half reinforcements, it's really about how does that fit in the system? Where is it going to go? But that's the avenue we want to apply testing ground kind of that platform for. But yeah.
Okay, and
also I don't think
what's your
the
ideal
1.5
outcome, right? All these
scopes
changes
not
are coming
coming back
through.
to the
You're
game.
watching what's happening. What's the best
A lot
thing
of
that can
people
happen out of
think
all
that.
this for each operator, for example?
I mean, it sounds kind of cheesy, but just that people are having fun. Like,
Makes sense.
this is honestly what it all comes down to, is that as much as Siege is super competitive and we want to take it serious, like, it's still a video game, it's still entertainment, and it needs to be that first. And we need to have fun with it. And that's fundamentally what we want to strive towards, is that you're not booting up the game and being frustrated the whole time you're playing, but you're having a great time. You can't wait to play with the squad. You can't wait to see what that next update is. Like, I mean, I know I'm
Dope could be
beyond
in
stoked about
remaster.
Rank 3.0. like that's the reality of it. And then just to make it a point of joy in your life. Because it's a hard game. We know this, and we'll talk about that a little later with onboarding stuff. but like, it's the reality is we just want you to have fun when you're playing.
Yeah, and okay, did you want to say?
Well, like I was just saying, like with the changes to the maps through the ranked map rotations, the changes to the balancing, the game is evolving at a faster pace than ever. Like just the Jackal change, you know, being scanned from Jackal from below, and then being able to play off of like a Jackal scan with communication within your team. Like, it's one element, but then being able to do that on different maps within ranked. The game is changing at such a fast pace that we're still kind of, you know, testing the waters on like the rate of all these kind of changes coming in, and do players, you know, do they want more, do they want less, and I know we're also looking at like, you know, weapons as well as like the different types of weapons that are, you know, being discussed within the community, and how to make those changes appropriately. So
Nerf
we are listening to the
DMRs.
community.
I think that's a really good point to mention, though, is the fact that
The
rate of
DMR
change,
nerf?
this is a significant adjustment
DMR
for
nerf,
Siege,
maybe?
like coming out of year 10, season 4, and into year 11, and we are monitoring that closely to see how the community is reacting to it,
the
less or more,
DNR
and whatnot.
nerf maybe.
But like you said, listening, especially when it comes to balancing, we know there are key things that the community is talking about, and I won't leak the stuff, but if I can tease a few things we are looking at, if that's all right. I like how I'm asking permission. I'm just going to do it anyway. But like, we know like Iona, Nock, Zofia, these are operators that players are giving us feedback on, and we're actively digging into them.
Okay, cool. And I think
Nick
something
already
else
got
that's really
buffed
interesting
up.
about these changes, right, is that it can also change the meta a little bit in terms of the way people play, and maybe people might start
And Iona as
exploring new
well.
operators. Is that kind of the intent here, or is it just kind of a nice side effect? How are you looking at it?
Yeah, absolutely. Like we are looking to kind of like mix things up at the end of the day. You know, Smoke having the shield back. Now Smoke might be played. It was played a lot before when he had the shield, so now that's coming back. All of a sudden Smoke's played more often, so you have that stalling techniques that are coming into play a little bit more in those ranked matches.
Yeah.
So that like all these things just keep changing and evolving, and then we get to kind of play and almost like kind of counter through different buffs, operators that are now being brought into that rotation and are on the field and can make a difference.
Nice. All right. Well, that being said, we talked about fair. We talked about maybe a little frustrating sometimes for some operators. And yeah, there's one operator, of course, that is fun to play, but sometimes can be frustrating to go against, and that is Dokkaebi, right? And that's why, we got this Dokkaebi remaster announced.
Rooney.
A lot of people viewed it and they saw it and said, well, this looks like a nerf.
Rooney, please.
What was the reason she was targeted? Is it basically
Can
what
we
I
get
just
a nerf
summed
on a
up,
Rooney
or-
ASAP?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's in part of that. I mean, with all remasters, we have a very specific kind of approach, which is we've exhausted all of their balancing levers to really bring them in line and alleviate the problems we're seeing, which Doka had a huge frustration problem around her. The fact that one operator with one charge of a primary gadget can affect an entire opposing team and in multiple ways. Like, she can reveal your location, making you an easier target to kill, give away any strategy of stealth or something like this if that's what you're trying to do. And then if she hacks a phone, say goodbye to all your primary gadgets if you're Maestro, Echo, or Valkyrie. And that's multiple gadgets just off the board.
It's kind of like you don't have...
not to mention BPCs and everything else. So
after she hacks
it was a huge power space in which he was holding. The thing is, just using the same mentality as balancing is like, we don't want to strip her of the fun. She is an absolute hacking mastermind, and we want to make sure she maintains that and keeps that essence alive, and really shows up in a big way and has, again, controls that impact, because she needs to have that impact. Just maybe not as global with how she was attacking everything all at once.
I think the important thing, right, is that you're maintaining her essence,
okay.
correct?
I understand. I understand.
So I think there's a couple of interesting things that are happening, especially with Doka, is when we look at her, we have a bit of a new approach too, where narratively, a lot's happened to her. She was captured by carries, and she went through a lot of stuff. So that'll change you. And evolve the way you look at the world and how you go about it. And we've initialized that into the character development of her remaster. So because of those events, she is taking a different approach on how she does what she does. It's very targeted, it's very precise, and I'll spoil everything, but I won't.
No, we won't spoil anything. Guys, if you want more information on the Dokkaebi Remaster, it will be revealed with the Season 2 reveal happening at the Major in Salt Lake City. So make sure you tune in for that for all the details there. But we'll end that discussion for now before maybe Josh says something we shouldn't say. No, I'm kidding. All right, let's go into a discussion now on future remasters, right? Are there any others that are coming?
Yeah, well, we announced that we're actually doing another remaster for Season 4. This is our final remaster. We announced that at the SI.
Right.
Being that we won't go into the same kind of caliber of saying, hey, remaster this season, brand new op this season. Going to year 12, it's a new op every season. So this is our final remaster. The concept of reworking an operator isn't
God.
And I want to make that clear. Like, we've kind of gone to the point where we still have levers on our operators to kind of play with, but a rework of the past may still return, if that makes sense.
Okay. And
gosh,
anything
dang
you can tease maybe about this?
I think the core part is, even though we're going to new operators every season, we're not going to be neglecting those other operators. And if some needs a little bit more heavy lifting to kind of get the job done, we're still up for that task.
Yeah. And I think as far as teasing for my own personal health, I'm not going to do that.
Okay. Fair enough.
No more leaks.
Actually, one thing I wanted to talk about a little bit more is you mentioned that, remasters probably won't be happening, but you're still going to pull some levers, right?
Yep.
In terms of balancing in the future. So it might not be a remaster, but there'll still be changes that could be made. Perhaps like Aurora, for example, a lot of different changes coming through for her, and it's not really necessarily a remaster per se, correct?
Yeah, like, I mean, like, she's a great example, but even I always keep going back to Thorn, but a pretty strong one where those are levers built into her already, and we were able to revamp how she's played in the game, and really, honestly, I think bring her to where everybody felt she should be.
Yeah, she's Pro League, like. Change from where she was.
So that was a pretty big deal to be able to do that, and that is using the levers we have in place, because every time we build a new operator, like everyone that's in development right now,
every time they rework a new op, it's always
multiple
sometimes
levers
terrible
in place so
or
that we
broken.
can continue to tune them as the game evolves, because we know it's going to evolve. Players are going to get better. They're going to change up their strategies. We want to be able to be reactive, and the key way of doing that is making sure we have those levers in place. So even from a new operator design point of view, we've adjusted the way that we kind of do our new ops.
Fair enough. All right, and well, we are already seeing on your screen, guys, we're jumping back into the STL match to see what's going on here. And
every time it's always over.
There we go. Drone Speedsters up against Expendos. I love the names. any research that you're going to be doing on? Are you going to be facing these guys? You have a match later, right?
I
Josh?
do have a match. As soon as I'm done this, I have to like pack my stuff at my desk and then run home because I have my match. But the funny part about the names too is that the names are they carry over season to season. So the players swap out, but the name remains. So you become part of the legacy of the team. Which
history there.
Yeah, and there's like Discord channels that we're talking in and stuff. But the funny part about that is the team I shouldn't say this because if they're watching, but the team I'm going against today, I'm still in their Discord channel.
Oh, John.
Oh,
Evil.
Inside intel.
I didn't check. I didn't
Evil
check.
man,
But
evil
I'm
man.
saying maybe on the way home. We'll take a look.
Oh my goodness.
Evil.
All right.
Man.
Well, that being said, let's jump into our next topic here. And I mean, this kind of ties in with what we're doing at STL. You know, we have that more recruit league that's coming through. And obviously, we're always looking at ways to make people feel more comfortable when they're onboarding. And, you know, that's what's happening here with this new onboarding experience, Chris, that's going to be coming through. That being said, there was already an onboarding system in place. It was working. It seemed to be working. Why change it now?
Yeah, so onboarding is what we call an ever active topic.
Right.
It's never going to go away for Siege. The skill floor is just too high. As much as we try to lower it through all the different onboarding
True.
changes and so
It is
on, it
really
just
high
remains
up.
a very high skill floor. We tried to adjust the skill floor without touching the skill ceiling because that's what makes Siege Siege, right? Is that it has a very high skill ceiling. So one of the key aspects that we've been really looking at is, you know, how do we continue to improve? We've actually seen a lot of improvements, especially starting in Season 4. We had bot teammates that had shown up. That's working very well. We had the Clear House that got added, a great PvE way to learn maps. We had the mini-map appear for the first time. We have a lot of different improvements that have been slowly rolling out. And we have seen a lot of big gains. But yes, we are going to be adding a new feature coming in Season 2.
And what does the new onboarding plan look like, I guess, my question then.
So it's centered around our bots. So our bots are machine learning bots, as you might remember. So that means we don't have a designer telling the bot how to behave or where to place a gadget or where to go roam or so on. We actually feed it live player data, and then the bots just act out that data. So where to place the gadgets, where to roam, where to anchor, you know, which weapon to use, which secondary to use. All of this is actually dictated directly from the bots themselves. So for the first time, we're actually going to be bringing bots into Quick Match exclusively for new installs only.
Bots in quick
so
play.
if you've just installed the game, you've never played Siege
Bots
before,
in quick play.
there's a chance in your very, very first matches of Quick Match that you'll be able to play against a bot match. The reason why we're doing this is we still struggle against putting new
Bots in
players
quick play.
into our existing PvP pool.
Right.
Going up against Quick Match, it's very, very difficult for us to, you know, give them or tweak with them a positive experience. Basically, a lot of our players, even if we try with our, you know, skill-based matchmaking or, you know, trying to incorporate with clearance level, it still has limitations because players know maps, they know operators, they know how to play and counter, and new players just get destroyed.
Bots
basically.
in quick
Yeah,
play.
I mean, to be honest with you, I used to play at the beginning of Siege, and then I hadn't played for a long time, and then I started again, and I was like, oh my god.
They're adding
a lot of
bots
bots.
at first
so yeah,
time.
this is a really good opportunity
only
for like that to be a little bit
people
slower,
that
like
played
just, okay,
Siege the
introducing
very
you slowly
first
to everything
time.
that's going on, as opposed
That's
to like
actually pretty
just getting
cool.
absolutely destroyed.
That's actually
immediately
gonna make
as
it
you're
way
jumping in.
easier
So-
for
so
new
yeah,
players to
there's
play the
multiple
game
phases,
instead of just
right, of
quitting
this.
like they
Yeah.
Go ahead.
typically
Yeah,
do.
well, absolutely. There's phase 1. So phase 1 is again, this is exclusively for new installs that have
Yes.
never played before. They will play against with bot teammates going up against a team of bots. After they play a couple matches, they go to phase 2 where they have players on their team and they're going up against bots. And then finally phase 3, which is an improved matchmaking that we're trying with, you know, including clearance level as a higher value to try to match those new players together. So this is something that we're testing. I do know, and I'm aware, that it's a sensitive topic, you know, bringing
Yeah.
bots into Quick Match. Again, it's exclusively only for new installs, new players. But we are talking today with our, you know, most active community. So if there's opportunities where players see for us to maybe bring bots into other situations, we're open to listening to it. I'm okay to come back to a live stream like this and say how it went. This is a test that we're doing in Season 2 with those new installs, with those new players, and let players know how did it go. But thinking about situations, right? Like right now we don't backfill if it's match point in Quick Match. So sometimes you end up in like a 5v3 or even worse in those Quick Match matches. And what ends up happening is that it just encourages other players to leave, and then the match just kind of falls apart. And sometimes it was a good match. So maybe there's an opportunity for there in match point to backfill with bots potentially. That's just one example.
Yeah.
Another example could be I'm a player that hasn't played for
How long
years,
is this?
and I
Oh
come back
my
to
gosh,
Siege.
it's going
Maybe it's okay to have a couple
forever,
bot matches to kind of warm up in that experience. But again, that's not what we're doing with Season 2. With Season 2 is just, I've never played Siege before. I click on PvP, you might get a bot match.
Okay. I mean, and by the way, guys, if you want to see stuff like that, like what Josh just mentioned in terms of bots, please let us know in the chat. We might do a seasonal survey at some point. Who knows? But yeah, we're always listening. We're always watching. We're always seeing what you guys want to have in the game.
Also, if I don't mind, just one more thing. Again, we are talking to our most active community today. So I'll just say, how do I identify a bot?
Yeah, I think that's important.
So there's 3 ways that you can identify if it's a bot that you're playing against. One is there's a number at the start of their name. So that's one of the giveaways, is that bots would always start with a number at the beginning of their name. Another one is you can't add them as a friend. And another one is you can't report them. So those buttons are just missing on the squad, like on the player profile panel, for example. So that's like a telltale sign of it's a bot.
Okay.
Once again, it's only for new players, new installs. Ideally, players are not smurfing, but if you want to see what are those signs for, is that a bot
Chat,
or
be right
not,
back.
those are the telltale signs.
Fair enough. And I guess another thing that's important with these bots, or maybe it's not important, I'm just curious, like, do you feel like they're representative of how a human might act in a real game?
Yeah, they're getting better. Honestly, we have a full team that's constantly working on our bots and improving them season by season, adding new bots to play as, or new operators that you can play against. Like there's some operators like a zombie that's been very difficult for us to bring into the bots matches. But ultimately, they are improving. And do they replicate player behavior? Yes, because they're given player behavior to play off of. So they're basically kind of replicating very common situations.
Okay. And let's see here. I think I have. Yeah. Okay. This is actually an important one that I want to ask you. So, can you skip these phases if you just want to jump straight into PvP?
So for Season 2, the answer is no. The reason why, again, it's a test. We're wanting to see what the value is on having those bot matches at the beginning of a player's journey. So encouraging that we do have the data ultimately on reflecting our players playing more matches. Are they sticking around? Are they falling in love with the uniqueness of Siege? Those are interesting data points that we really want to learn. So in Season 2, the answer is no, but for the future, we'll discuss. And again, I'm happy to come back and report back on how the test went.
Absolutely. And I think we already covered this next one that I was curious about, but like, will bots be introduced in regular game modes, or is it strictly for onboarding? But you already mentioned, right, that's something that we want to hear
exclusively for new
everyone.
installs.
Yeah, exclusively for new installs, and that's it. So, yeah, I think that pretty much covers up our conversation on that one. But one more conversation, one more topic we kind of want to go through is player protection. You know, kind of an update on what was happening previously, right, and what we talked about previously, and let you guys know how it's going. So I guess my question to you then, Chris, is how are things going? Is there any updates you want to share?
Yeah, so last time we did a community live stream, it was 100% focused on player protection. Actually, no, we touched on testing grounds as well, but mostly it was on player protection. So ultimately, we announced that we were going to start banning on Mousetrap, and I'm happy to say that we have started banning on Mousetrap. We've been banning our worst offenders. We've been banning those that are showing other telltale signs of being a bad actor within our community, and Mousetrap bans have begun. Additionally, we did a major update to Mousetrap, and we found it to be 6 times more effective identifying a mouse and keyboard in a console pool. We're well aware that there's more work to do in terms of detecting recoils. We mentioned last time in the community live stream, we are actively working on this, and we'll have more to announce soon. But for M&K on consoles, so players playing mouse and keyboard in consoles, we've started the ban phase, and we've been improving our systems.
And are there any other updates? I know last time we talked about toxic behavior and monitoring text chat and voice chat. Has anything changed there?
Yeah, so last time we talked about the sensitivity levels. Like, not all players have the same sensitivity levels. What we've done is basically taken a big step back in terms of how sensitive the systems have been. Players are likely noticing that they're getting flagged less often, right, than for the chat communications. Also, we completely stripped away the idea of something that's slightly offensive or moderately offensive. We just said, just let that roll. You don't see that yellow text anymore that says, hey, maybe this is offensive.
Yeah.
We just removed that idea altogether. There's one other thing that we've been working on, which is we've been trying to detect positive communication. So players that are making callouts, players that are saying, upstairs, downstairs, big tower, like those are strong positive callouts that are helping with the match. That's being a good teammate. So if players check the reputation
I'm about to
center,
see,
they're likely going
one
to
that
see
said,
they're
"Oh,
getting
there's a guy
flagged
over
for
here."
positive communication at a much higher rate than they were in the past.
That's awesome. Yeah,
gonna
always
be
important
funny.
to have that be reinforced,
that.
right?
Right.
Anything else you want to share regarding player protection before we move on?
I think the key part is that like it's again an ever active topic for us. It's a mouse and cat game. We're always going to be updating our systems. We have a team that's fully committed to it. We've been ramping up. We had a lot of big wins, and it's going to be a topic that we're always going to be committing to fight against. And there's going to be up and downs, but stick with us because we are 100% committed to that fight.
Sounds good. All right. That does wrap up our coverage here, and I promise, guys, I haven't. Oh, yeah, I am there. Okay. Hey, I just thought my camera wasn't seeing. We're seeing a lot of STL coverage coming through, though. But yeah, if you guys have any questions that you want to ask in the chat, please do so now. If you already have been, we've been monitoring, we've been collecting them. So we're going to go through those soon. Before we do, we have some pre-submitted questions that we want to.
All right. Well, I'm not trying to hear the pre-submitted questions, but anyways, all right. I'm gonna end my stream anyways, but I will be streaming. I will do an extra stream tomorrow.